Hello, everyone. We are here in the universe, and we've missed you, and we're happy you're here, and we're happy to be here as well.
So happy to be here, and it is our episode number 4. Cuatro.
Quatre.
Yes, especially after the 4th of July. I think that's really timely, wouldn't you say?
My favorite Mariah Carey song is called 4th of July on the Butterfly album. Actually, it's not my favorite, but it is a good song. 4th of July. Yeah, no, it was really chill for me. It was I kept telling people, in fact, I'm chill today. And people were expecting me to be like, you know, me, and I'm just like, no, I'm really chill today. I'm gonna turn my audio up a little more. So I'm happy to be not so chill today. How about you? What did you do?
It was really relaxed, actually. I took some time for myself, and I am very happy I did. And so, yeah, I think this 4th of July was relaxed all around. There was not a lot of fireworks. There was supposedly an eclipse that was visual. There was an eclipse I was supposed to see, and I didn't see it. Nothing happened.
Oh, that pisses me off.
Yeah, I was very excited about this eclipse, and it happened, but it wasn't visible from where I was sitting. So, but yeah, it was weird without any fireworks. It was weird without the moments of like, wow, you know, being able to sit in that location and being able to look around in the 360 and see all of the fireworks. That didn't happen.
Yeah, we came back to Waltham kind of early. Like the party was supposed to be an afternoon thing. It was supposed to be like 2 to 7. Excuse me. And it was exactly that. Usually when I go to a party that's 2 to 7, I stay till 10.
Yeah.
So it was 7. And I'm like, all right, I'm ready for the fireworks. And we didn't really see any. And I was like, oh, we heard them. But like, what's the point in seeing or in hearing fireworks if you don't see them? It's sort of like...
Episode 4, new paradigm, new hustle, bomb, brand new, all the news.
Bam.
And look at, I mean, we're in it. We're talking about the 4th of July, the staple of America. And we heard the fireworks, we couldn't see them, which is kind of very metaphoric.
That is really metaphoric.
You know what I mean?
I didn't think of it in a metaphoric way until you said that, but yeah, you're right.
You know, there was supposedly an eclipse, couldn't see it. There's a lot of visually disguised experiences, although all the other senses are perceiving them. Therefore,
you know,
that is the vibes.
That is the vibes. Yeah, I've been, speaking of that, well, that's kind of the reason. I know we were talking a little bit this week. I'm usually on a recording week, I'm a little more available. And this week I was not so much. I feel like if I had a 9 to 5, which I have a lot of little jobs that I do, but if I had a 9 to 5, I would have taken about 4 days off this week. And yeah, and it's because of my anxiety. I've been feeling these crazy physical symptoms of anxiety, and I've just been so off because of it, you know? Which is fine. You know, I mean, it's fine. Like, I made this post this week where I'm like, we have to acknowledge the bad on social media. Otherwise, when other people are feeling it and they don't see us going through it, they think there's something wrong with them. You know? And I don't want that. I mean, like, you know, I will smooth out my skin all day on fucking, you know, Facetune or whatever. And that's great. And I'm not going to stop. Trust me. But what's that? I don't edit my photos. What are you talking about? But at the same time, you know, I don't want people to feel bad for not looking perfect all the time, because perfect is bullshit, you know? And so, I don't know. That's what I've been going through. And it brings me to, you're talking about, you know, what you see and what you feel being two different things, or what you hear being two different things, you know? And it's also interesting because the first 3 episodes of our podcast were, can you see me, can you hear me, can you feel me? And they're different sensations, and they're different they are different. They're not the same. They're not black and white. So it's interesting to talk about those things.
Yeah, and I thank you for being vulnerable on social media because you do know the power of your platform, and I hope others find empowering, if find validation and
I'm so vulnerable.
empowered by that. Like, huh?
I'm so vulnerable. I
You're
am.
so vulnerable. Like,
It's true.
honestly though, like, because I don't know. Honestly, this is a new paradigm, new shift, new hustle, and understanding the power that you have of your platform, knowing that even if it's just 4 people that are watching you, those 4 people have their own network of people they're also being watched by, and
Right.
understanding that responsibility and then using that platform for whatever message and policies or whatever that you want to use to convey to the world is so powerful. And we're at that place now. So thank you for keeping that in mind. And thank you for being like, hey guys, I know I use Facetune, but I'm going through some hardcore emotions right now.
Yeah.
And I know I can't do that. I can't do that.
You
I've gotten to the
can.
point. No,
I think I've learned it from you.
I've gotten to the point that what I share is more advice that I'm going through and how to get over it. That's helped me.
Mm-hmm.
But I've gotten to the point that I've used my platform for spreading information for so long that now I'm kind of taking a step back and only speaking when I need to speak, starting to save my bullets a little bit.
Okay.
And getting really good, because before I was just like, love. I was a little Care Bear. I was like, Care Bear stand. It's like nothing but love and rainbows.
We love the Care Bears.
Yeah.
They'll be the guests.
They'll be our next guest. But now it's gotten to a place where I don't really, if I don't have an answer or I don't have something to share,
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather just sit with it. I'd rather just kind of remember I have a tribe that I can go to. I have close friends that really care and reach out to them in the physical. I think I've done the virtual. And now, personally for me, part of me kind of stepping away a little bit this week was feeling it, honoring it, and then seeing who's willing to step up to the plate and be like, hey, are you okay? Because
yeah, well, are you okay? Or
yeah, I'm better now. I needed a moment. This eclipse was mean eclipse. It was
still mean.
Yeah, it was being stuck in the birth canal for about 4 to 6 hours kind of vibe. You know what I mean? Will I make it out? What's going on? I don't know what's happening. Shit.
Yeah.
So,
so I'm
having a beer while we're talking. So finally.
I've been looking like an alcoholic on our podcast because I've been the only one drinking, and I usually do 2 mules because I don't know how long we're going to go because we talk long. I'm glad that you're drinking a Modelo. Hopefully one day on this podcast, Modelo will be our sponsor, and we'll both be drinking Modelo, and we'll be getting paid for it. So Modelo, check us out. We love you. We love everybody. So tell me what you're watching on TV, because, I think what, speaking of a paradigm shift, culture is really big for me in that. Me and Scotty were just talking about how when we remember big life events in our lives, Scotty says he always associates it with what Britney album came out that year. That's how he remembers the year. And for me, it's what Madonna album came out, or Gaga, or Cher. But Cher doesn't really do albums consistently anymore. So one of them. So, pop culture is a really big thing for me, especially as we're dealing with these paradigm shifts. It's like, all right, you need something to take the heaviness away from that,
Yeah.
So what have you been watching?
I love Queer Eye.
I do too. I just started it up again.
I've been watching that like no one's business.
I'm obsessed. I didn't see Japan.
I started watching that yesterday I watched it and I loved it.
Cool.
I've been watching Queer Eye mainly for just like the framework of how psychology and new approach to being is shifting. Usually a makeover requires like they never really approach the culture of it. They never approach like what you're eating. They never approach how you're living. They
They
always just
never
approach your
approach the
clothes,
emotion.
right? And they just approach the clothes and the hair,
And what physically works for you, you know?
right? And then the hair is usually just like you were a brunette, well now you're a blonde with bangs,
Right. It's very Tyra.
right? And
Yeah.
I've really been
Love
enjoying
that.
this of just like there's never a hair coloring situation. It's just going really deep into like where does it hurt? Let's use these tools like cooking to make you closer to your family if that's a problem. Um, Look at the way you're living. How can we best help you? And so I really love that while still teaching tolerance and gay culture and or not even gay culture specifically, but just like a different way of being. Like everyone is really touchy-feely. Everyone's really open with their emotions and even in the Japan one, there the first episode, ladies like we don't really hug a lot, and I want to start hugging more. With COVID and everything, I'm realizing that the touch is starting to go away. So I don't know. I like that show. Definitely, I've been watching that like no one's business.
Have you, Shea Coulee, that whole season, Shea's season, was that 10?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I would have argued that Shea was totally a shoo-in to win, and I still do, actually. But then the moment when she did the lip sync with Sasha, I was very weirded out on her season that she didn't have a reveal. It was just that costume, and her lip sync was so emotional. And, this is the outfit, and this is the wig, and it was a sick wig and outfit, but there was no reveal.
Purple moment?
Yeah, oh my God. I mean, that should have been the wig under the first wig, But I think when Sasha did a very emotional reading of it. Right. And I'll never forget, like, a few weeks after that, or maybe it was even months, when they started doing the presidential debate thing on SNL, they had Liz Warren, the woman playing Liz Warren, do it. And I was like, ah! And all the straight people didn't get it, and nobody cared because it was so amazing. But speaking of culture, is like, that's how big in culture it was. Like, who would have thought that we'd be bringing drag culture into our sketches about the president I guess it was last year in 2019.
Yeah.
But Shea this season, first of all, Shea's teeth are killing it. Her fill too. She looked good. She looked real good. And fucking Jujubee is just...
I thought Jujubee. Yeah. I don't see. That's what I mean. That's why I'm really enjoying very much this season.
I mean, they're my top two. There's nobody else that...
Yeah. Alexis Mateo is doing a fantastic job. Her Walter Mercado is brilliant.
Oh my God. And you know what? I only know Walter Mercado because of you, because you said that name once, and then I Googled it, and then I was like, this bitch with the lips and everything. Oh my God.
Of Latin American culture.
Oh my, swear. Like, I could swear. I thought, and I don't say this in a bad way, but I thought Walter Mercado, when I looked at many pictures of him, I was like, this can't be the right person because that's a woman. Like, that work, those lips. And I was like, no.
That was the Liberace of astrology.
Yeah. And I love that it's astrology. You know what I mean? Like...
Which is our culture as well. Like, so the Hispanic culture is very wrapped into like herbal medicine and like, hoodoo traditions and things like that. But I will share that, for the record, his documentary is coming out July 8th on Netflix.
Oh, so I did see that.
We have to absolutely do a watch party.
We have to do a watch party or maybe a review on this show. Even if it's not the whole episode, we could do a reaction video for Walter Mercado.
The entire time we're like, yes,
yeah. I've only really seen pictures. I haven't seen a lot of video stuff for Walter Mercado, so I'm very excited.
He's amazing. What have you been watching? Talk to me.
Also All Stars and also Queer Eye. I'm especially into Queer Eye season 5 because that's Philly, and I've seen 2 people I know.
Are you serious?
Yeah, it's just...
What has been your favorite one so far in the Philly one? Because I love Philly. That one has been amazing.
My favorite Philly one... I think my favorite Philly one... And I don't remember the woman's name, but the woman in like the row home and her husband had I think it was ALS her husband had.
Oh my
And
God,
she would
yeah.
give him the medicine in the basement.
She's
Those
like
kind.
she's got that hefty laugh and stuff.
She's got this voice where she's very Northeast Philly. Actually, they're in Delco, and the character / drag queen I produced for Aunt Mary Pat is based out of Delco. So I was like, oh my God, this is like the real life Aunt Mary Pat. It's so funny, but
Oh my gosh.
but even the type of house the woman had, it was just very. It reminded me of my parents' generation, which is not always necessarily the most woke generation, but seeing those guys come into that house and spruce it up and give them a new perspective, for me was really cool, because I was like, okay, we're talking to so many people that I know these people basically. Literally, I texted my mom. I was like, Mom, do you know this lady? And I sent her like a screen grab from the screen. She's like, no, why? I was like, oh, she's on Queer Eye and she's in Delco. I figured you know her, but I've been watching Unsolved Mysteries.
That is my like childhood. My
Girl, me
scorpionic
too.
childhood. That was my scorpionic childhood. Like
Every night I would have like I would only watch it at my dad's because my stepmom loved Lifetime television for women, if you remember.
Yes,
They don't call it
That's
television for
documentary
women
show.
anymore because too many gays watch it now. But in the 90s, it was branded as television for women, and I was all about it at like 6. So my stepmom, Lori, and I would watch it, and I wouldn't watch it at my mom's because they were like, no, it's scary. You can't watch it. Or like, there'd be movies about husbands killing wives and shit. So
yeah, no, it'd be the worst.
I watched them in like 2 days, and then I had nightmares, which of course I did.
The world is a scary, scary place.
Scary. All right, listen. Let's talk about. We have someone joining us today, and it's someone that we love.
Yes,
Someone that we actually knew separately when he was local to where. I mean, we were both in Boston at the time, but you knew him before I did, and then I actually met you through him.
So it's fitting that he's our first guest.
It actually is. It really is. So for me, I met Jeremy. Maybe I'll just talk to him about it, but he is an amazing singer, performer, songwriter,
human being, angel.
And he was
from
also
above.
my professor at Berkeley. And although he's like, 7 years older than me, it just so happened that I was like 20 and he was 27, and he taught me really how to sing. If anyone thinks I'm a talented singer, I was good before Jeremy, but I'm great if I am great, which I'm not saying I'm great, but if I'm a great singer, it's because of Jeremy.
That's
as good as I am, it's because of him. He taught me how to sing things that he taught me to think outside the box as a vocalist and as a performer, and I didn't know how to do that before him.
I second that fully. He did the same thing for me. The only difference was that I got to stand next to him on stage and learn that way, and just sit there and be like, the entire time, just
be like, oh, I'm here too.
Not even.
Excuse
I'm like, that
me.
was possible? You could do that?
Yeah.
I don't see any flags on any field. Jesus Christ. Let's welcome Jeremy.
Jeremy Ragsdale.
Hi! Jeremy!
Well, first of all, Natalie, we've spoken recently, so this is like just a Sunday for us.
Yeah.
But Ken,
dude.
Oh my God, man!
It's been a long time.
It's been a really long time, and I mean, Natalie's given me a few updates here and there, and every now and then we say what's up, and it's awesome. But dude, I need more Ken in my life. Real talk.
I need more Jeremy in my life. I literally, we did an intro for you just a few seconds ago. I was talking about how you taught me to sing. So
I taught you to sing, yeah.
You did.
And you can say I taught you stuff, but man, you taught me stuff too. It was just a job title, really. And I really loved teaching there, but it was just as much a learning experience as it was a teaching experience. It was a different level of learning, I guess.
We had some dope times.
Yeah, we did.
I still remember the arrangement of Day by Day you did. Like, and I remember you.
Day by Day?
Day by Day. I still remember that because you did it in class.
Oh my God.
That was my. Oh, get out of here! Yes. Yes.
Dude, oh my God.
And you wrote these crazy vocal. Yes, yes. And you wrote these crazy vocal parts in class. Like you didn't even need to bring it in class because you were just like, oh, here, I'll you didn't need to do it beforehand because you just did it there. You're just like, oh, you guys like this? Okay, cool.
In hindsight, I probably should have written the charts outside of class time, but the fact that I was writing the charts around your voices was what was special to me.
That was what was really cool about it.
And I'm glad that you guys appreciated it. If anybody watching is going into teaching and you're a little nervous, the best advice I got that made me feel better was just like, Jeremy, just stay 1 week ahead of the students. That's all you need.
That's what I hear, you know, and I
1 week ahead of them. And I was like, what? But they're gonna see right through me, man. Like, but it was actually, in a way, it was really true. And my homework throughout the week was to just like shed and shed and shed, which means practice, by the way, to those of you watching who don't know.
To our listeners,
just track the crap out of what I was going to teach you guys in the class the following week. And it was, I look back at that and think, now I'm 38. Would I have the capacity to actually like physically or emotionally to do that job again?
Right around Christmas break, the semester before, you walked into my gig. I didn't know you were a singer, right? And then we had maybe 1, 2, or 7 drinks after my gig. And I was like, this guy's so fucking cool. And you're like, yeah, I teach at Berkeley. I was like, that's nuts. I go to Berkeley.
No big deal. I just, like, this is what we're actually doing. And this is the stuff that you're going to need, or people are not going to take you seriously, or they're just not going to. This doesn't mean you have to like go up to people and be like, hey, can I get a gig? I know how to solfege like Phrygian improv in it. Like nobody.
You walk into Hennessy's and you go to the bar owner and you say, all right, here's my solfege in Phrygian. And they're like, all right, you got the gig. We've been looking for someone. Oh man.
And like,
so yeah. So who did you look up to at Berkeley? Like when you were there?
Walter Beasley.
I never had him. Nat, did you have Walter?
No, I was music business, so I was in a completely different world. I did voice for like 2 years, and then I was in.
So let me explain how Walter functioned. Okay, so Walter Beasley, for those of you watching, Walter Beasley is a saxophonist who is also a singer, a fantastic, like world-class musician. World-class instincts, world-class humility, like world-class just chops. And I was just like just an absolute like beginner, I feel like. When I first met him, I was probably in my 2nd or 3rd semester at Berkeley. And I didn't, like, I grew up with jazz. My dad is a jazz musician, so I was exposed to jazz, but I never really had many opportunities to perform it or do anything improvisational, really. All I did in high school was like musicals and took classical voice lessons, all of which were very helpful for my development over time.
Yeah, me too.
However, there weren't any jazz combo like ensembles that I could just take in high school. I should have gone to Duke Ellington or something. But when I got to Berkeley, they would ask me to sing jazz standards, and I would sing it like a musical theater song. This was like my first semester, and I got shocked to high heaven, man. It was ridiculous. Who says high heaven? I'm turning into
high heaven.
Jesus, Mary and Joseph. So I I was lucky enough to have by that point 2 semesters of private lessons with Kevin Mahogany, and what I took from that was I'm way too white for this style currently.
Yeah.
I need to grow up a little bit, get some culture in me, and like, figure things out. And it wasn't like I took that in a life, like a devastating thing. Like, I wanted to get my ass kicked when I came in there. You better use the opportunity, I wanted to get my ass kicked, and Kevin Mahogany was the perfect teacher to kick it, because I knew that he would never really compliment me. He was very tough.
Cool.
But I'll kind of fast forward through Kevin. Rest in peace, by the way. But Kevin really helped me get chops up and understand like what the different eras of jazz were. Even though I'd listened to jazz my whole life, whether I liked it or not, I had no idea whether I was going to actually enjoy jazz or not. So it was like semester 3 or something that I got to Walter Beasley's ensemble. It was a smooth jazz ensemble. It was like, we were playing like Autumn Leaves with a backbeat. It was
sick.
It was what it was. But it was like, I mean, at the time, I was just completely like, what's the term? I had no idea what I was doing. No idea. And then he would assign us these things. And instead of talking about technique or talking about music theory, I mean, he did a little bit of both, but instead of really talking about those things or spending all of his time talking about those things like most other voice teachers would do or ensemble teachers would do, Walter was sitting there going like, all right, music is sex. And I'm like, that sounds like a 19-year-old white dude from like suburban Maryland. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, what? What? And he's like, look, you guys, let me know if this topic makes you uncomfortable in any way. And we were all like, no, you can't just pull back after that. Like, follow through.
Anyway, open your textbooks to.
Yeah, like I was like, at first I was kind of thrown all over the place with that. But then it was like, the description of it was essentially like not what you think. It's essentially like how people relate to each other. And
right.
like the building block of life is sex. So it's not like he was saying it pervertedly. He was saying it in a way that was like the way that people interact when they're young, like
is mostly through sex.
a lot of times they're like everybody's in a hurry to get somewhere.
Yeah.
Like when they're young. And so if you're taking an improvised solo, think about the nuances of foreplay. What it takes. Like, what do you do? Just like kiss for 2 seconds and all of a sudden like, you're having sex? Like, no. Like, well, if it's possible,
Some
but at
people
the same
do.
time, yeah, some people do, and that's all right. But it's like, the most satisfying reports of anything sexual or intimate, it was not born out of like a 2-second experience, So I'm kind of taking his idea and just going, now I'm turning it into like, let's talk about penises and vaginas. No, but his idea was when we're young, we're always in a rush to get somewhere. Like we have something to prove. So bang, 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 bang. 16th notes all the time.
Oh God, that was me.
And you're not gonna reach an audience like that, because at the end of the day, the people that you're performing for are just like people that you're trying to court for a relationship. If you are interested in them, really interested in them, if you really care about them, you will give them that foreplay. You dangle a carrot.
Oh, that's so deep.
Give them what you can do, but don't do it all at once. Don't give it all up on the first date. And it's like,
That's dope.
and if you and you got to think about like why that works, why that like emotionally works, especially as people mature in life, that it becomes such a total thing that you can't argue with that. And so immediately I went from like not having a clue which notes to sing. I didn't even care what notes I was singing anymore. I was thinking about the life connection that my improvisation was doing. You know, the theory stuff, the solfege stuff, like the do re mi's, that you know,
Right. Well, you need that to get to where you want to go. Yeah.
But those other teachers, you know, I had mechanical classes, and then I had like life coaching with Walter Beasley. I took that ensembles for like 6 or 7 semesters straight.
Did you?
Believe me, believe that. Yeah.
Oh, I should have done that.
Yeah, it was.
Believe that.
Dude, he is the best human being I think I've ever met in my life. It's not just the fact that he was a professor, just the impact that he's had on my life and other people's lives. And sometimes, like, I do a YouTube show now, and every now and then, Walter Beasley goes into the chat.
Sick.
He like tipped me like $20 or something a couple months ago, and the tip message was one word: proud. He says one word and it means 1,000. That's who Walter Beasley is.
I want to talk about you now, though, because in the time that I've known you, you've done so many things. You've been my friend. You've been my professor. You had your own school in Baltimore. You went to Romania and won X Factor there, which is not something anyone else I know has done.
Yeah, weirdest thing that could ever happen to anybody.
The weirdest thing. So tell me, well, first I want to know, which of these avenues do you feel has really been the greatest for you to express yourself as an artist? And also to give me a little more about Romania. I just want to know what brought you to Romania, how you went from did you go there? I mean, you didn't go there to be on X Factor. You were there.
So
tell me what happened.
All right. I'll tell you a little story.
Yes.
Okay, so in 2017, my New Year's resolution was to travel more. Everybody else travels. I go on Facebook, and all of my friends, even my laziest ass friends who don't do shit, they're always on a boat in the Caribbean.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm like, dude, I don't do anything like that. I work my ass off. I deserve to have like a boat trip or something. I need to travel. And then I thought more about it, and I was just like, all right, do I just want to travel just so I can be like, I'm on a boat? Like, no. Like, I'm an academic person, and I want to learn not just about, like, you know, things, but people.
Yeah.
I've always been that way. That's why I got into teaching. Even though it was scary as hell, I was like, you know what? This is a good path for me. This is the right path.
Yeah.
So my New Year's resolution that year, 2017, was to travel more. And then after thinking about it for about a couple weeks, I was like, all right, I got it. I'm going to learn a new language this year.
Get out of here.
Yeah. I never follow resolutions either. It's like, I'm losing weight. That. Oh, next thing, you know, maybe next year. No, that year, for some reason, there was a fire in me before I even decided that it was Romania, before I even decided that. But the reason I chose Romania to be the country whose language I learned was that their language held on. They're the closest living language to original colloquial Latin. Like, so it's kind of like instead of taking a Latin class, if you're taking Latin so that you can learn to improve your grammar, like, why would you learn a language that nobody's actually speaking? You could learn the closest thing grammatically to it. You know, whereas English only has a few different grammatical cases. And Natalia, you know, you would know about the Latin languages and how the grammatical cases, there's so many more in the Latin-based languages. That fucked me up, my friends. I had no idea what I was getting myself into at the time. And for real, like, at the time, I was super pumped. Like, I still am super pumped about speaking Romanian. I think anybody who watches me speak Romanian on my YouTube show, like, knows that I'm, like, trying so hard that it's not like I have to do it. Like I want to do it. That's why
Well,
I'm,
not.
you know.
I don't know anybody that's chosen to speak Romanian. You know, it's
And
it's
that's
a choice.
another deciding factor, actually.
Yeah.
I wanted to learn a language that nobody I knew was speaking. Like,
So then, did you move there?
no,
because you
I
were-
just started taking trips there first.
Okay.
So I used the Pimsleur language learning audio tapes.
Yes.
MP3s now, obviously, but you know, I
Yeah.
put my iPod in and just like
It's probably an app now.
yeah, it's an app essentially, and I put my headphones in and just like repeated after that guy. And it turns out the Pimsleur language learning process is like super compatible with the way my brain works. And I totally believe what they believe, and that I'm sure a lot of you also believe, that language is meant to be spoken first,
Yeah.
felt, spoken,
Yeah.
and then the writing is just a reflection of what's already being vocalized. And so there wasn't a lot of writing involved. There was just a lot of just repeating after certain phrases, and it would jumble your brain a little bit. It would surprise you and kind of backtrack into some older thing where they were like, "Hey, do you remember how to say this?" But
Oh, nice.
it would
Very
go
cool.
It's music.
two steps forward, one step back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's totally how I teach now, by the way. I teach music theory that way, and kids are like blasting through.
Cool.
So anyway,
Very cool.
can you tell I'm like deflecting stories about myself? Like,
No. I mean, I want to hear. I want to hear about Romania and then doing X Factor.
okay. So I used those tapes to learn Romanian for about 3 months.
Mm-hmm.
Then after those 3 months, 4 months actually, because I made a plan that my birthday gift to myself, April 30th, would be to fly to the country who's speaking the language that I'm learning, you know? So I booked a trip to Bucharest, Romania, without knowing any Romanians. I mean, I did enough research to know I wasn't gonna get like stabbed in the ass or anything, but like,
Right. Good.
no, they're pretty safe, like hospitable country, and a lot of beautiful mountains and stuff. So I flew over there. I already had a hotel room, set up. They have Uber over there, so
Good.
my app worked.
Yes.
So there were a lot of things that were automated that, like, just in case I just bit the dust speaking Romanian, which I did anyway. I totally bit the dust that first trip. But at least, there were apps that I could just automate. I'd be like, oh, îmi pare rău, nu vorbesc. Like, American. Means I'm sorry, I'm American. So
This is what we're all saying.
I basically like slept off the jet lag the first day. On the second day, I decided I kind of did a little sightseeing, and then actually no, first and second day I did a little sightseeing, and then the second night I said I'm gonna make some friends. It's time to make some friends. Okay, Jeremy, you can do this. Like, for as outgoing as I might seem, in real life, if I'm out of my comfort zone, it is like really difficult.
Oh, it's so hard.
Yeah.
Put myself out there, you know.
Funny.
Yeah. So that night I went on my app and I went on my phone. I was like, dude, how am I going to make friends the fastest? Like, who do I already relate to already? And I was like, dude, I'm making some singing friends. I'm going to make some singing friends. I'm going to a karaoke bar. And so I went to a karaoke bar that night, the first one that showed up on my phone. And I hung out for about an hour or so, watched everybody sing, spoke in horrible Romanian. I was like, you know what usted is in Spanish, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm basically calling like 19-year-old girls behind the bar usted. Like, I was using that grammatical context. I was like, everything was going that way. And she looked at me, the bartender looked at me both confused and impressed. Like, she hadn't said a word yet, and I was like, scuzate-mă, domnișoară, excuse me, miss,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. And she goes, where are you from? Like, in English, full, perfect English. Oh, you speak English? She goes, do we speak what? What? Like, yes, we all speak English. Like, what? Yes, of course.
You're like, oh shit, I didn't need
And I'm
that.
like, dude, I didn't know. All the videos I saw of Romania on YouTube were like people speaking in Romanian and people trying to learn Romanian. It wasn't like, look at all these Romanians speaking English. Like, it was videos of that. So I was flabbergasted. I ended up kind of, you know, thank God the people I talked to were able to speak English. Like, I hung out for a little longer, and then I got up and I sang "Rolling in the Deep" by.
Yes.
And I bet you did it in the original key.
No, I do it down a whole step. I do it in B flat minor.
Okay. All right. Well, still pretty high.
Fire, could have had it all. Oh, yeah.
See?
Not warmed up, but I sang "Rolling in the Deep" and the whole entire place went crazy.
Yeah.
Of
Like-
course they did.
Yeah.
No, it was like when I sing in America, people might be like positively affected by it. But these people lost their minds. And I was just like, what is going on? Like, everybody else sounded good too, you know? And I'm not, like, I know I've practiced. I know I've done my scales for years. And I've gotten to a point where, like, yes, I'm a professional singer and I'm proud of the work that I've done. I do say that I'm talented. I'm not saying it arrogantly. Like, it is a gift that I am trying to treat as a gift and not like throw it away and act like a jerk, you know. Like, it's just, I've worked hard. I encourage everybody to do as much as they can, you know. So when people freak out when I sing, I'm like,
Thanks.
everything cool? You guys all right?
You guys good?
You guys need anything? You know, so, and then immediately I had like 25 friends. Immediately.
Sick.
And a couple of them had a band and they were like, yo, do you have anything going on tomorrow? I said, no, my schedule is completely clear. I did that on purpose. He goes, cool, because you're coming with us to the recording studio. We're just going to like we're just going to write some songs on the fly. You know, we have this producer. I'm like, okay. They're like, it's at Universal Music, Romania. And I was like,
Hey.
okay. What? Like, so, yeah, on day 2, I was making my first friends at a karaoke bar in Bucharest. On day 3, I was writing and recording music with a producer at Universal Music Romania. So if that wasn't a good first impression, I don't know what would have been. It was the most incredible thing. I spent the rest of the week hanging at the karaoke bar, hanging at the studio with those dudes, and yeah, that was the first trip. Then I went home for about a month, and I was like, yo, screw that, I'm going back. Like, I'm
going back.
So a month later, I scheduled another week in Romania. Caught up with everybody. They like met me at the airport and everything. Like, good people, man. And during that week, a couple of the people from the karaoke bar introduced me to this girl who does what we do, like event band.
Right.
You know, she might teach a little bit, like, but she sings her ass off and is very outgoing, and she's one of us, you know. And she added me on Facebook and basically was like, yeah, we do the same thing. We're into the same stuff. Like, I do events, whatever. And I was like, oh, dude, I'm so happy to meet another, like a professional. I've got so many questions for you. It's like, well, I'm going to be at the karaoke bar tomorrow. So the place is called Tunes, by the way. The karaoke bar is called Tunes.
Shout out to Tunes
Shout out
in
to
Bucharest.
Yeah. Yeah, we met each other the next night at Tunes karaoke pub. And I got up and sang I Have Nothing by Whitney Houston.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
What key was that in? What key?
I started in E flat, and the chorus goes to oh God.
That's still close. I think Whitney did it in that key, Jeremy.
E flat. No.
She did it in that key live. I'm
Oh, maybe
almost sure
5.
she did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But she
Yeah.
probably succeeded in the high notes, like, without covering, that
I'm sure you did too.
some precautionary technical thing when I sing the high stuff. I put a little growl in what otherwise would be falsetto just to give it some presence.
Just to give it a little push.
Yeah, just give it some kind of like some ganas, You like that, Natalie?
Thank you.
Probably doesn't mean like what I think it means anyway.
No, ganas is exactly that. You said it perfectly.
Is
So
it balls?
it's like desire. Yeah, it's balls.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
It's kind
Oh,
of
we
like
can say balls.
Gumptious.
yeah. But so anyway, I got up and sang I Have Nothing, Whitney Houston, and I sat down and she looked at me and goes, all right. I haven't been 100% transparent with you. I'm like, what are you talking about? She's like, well, I mean, I definitely do all these things like event band, this and that,
Mm-hmm.
One of my other gigs, and one that I've been spending a decent amount of time doing recently, is that I'm a casting agent for
Oh.
here in Romania. And I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, you're going to be a contestant in this season. And I mean, it's not up to producers or anything, it's up to audience votes. But dude, I mean, you're going to win, man. Like, and I'm like, what? But I'm
Wow.
Romanian. I have, first of all, thank you for the, whatever. And as she's giving this spiel, like, everybody from the karaoke bar is starting to kind of like trickle around me.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I'm like, but I'm not Romanian. I have no right to even like participate, let alone if I won, what that would actually mean. Like what, I don't know if I would feel comfortable, this is my
Right.
second time in your country. I barely speak your language.
Yeah.
How could I participate? I mean, it sounds like an amazing thing. It's not like I want to sound ungrateful or anything, but are you sure? Like everybody starts going, dude, she's right. You're going to win. Do it. And I'm like, well, I mean, can you give me a couple weeks to think about it? Like just at least a couple weeks. She's like, yeah, no problem. Like the auditions start in a few weeks. And I mean, if you say yes, we'll put you in a slot and,
Wow.
might not make it past that. I mean, anything can happen, but like you sing like that, you play piano like that. And I'm like, ooh, bashful, but then but let's put it in a cultural perspective, in a perspective of like the heart,
Mm-hmm.
we are a formerly communist country that only 30 years ago revolted against communism. So we're just seeing our first half a century in the modern age of like, a capitalist democratic society. We have looked up to America for God knows how long. Even when we were communists, we still like wanted to be connected to America. And ever since any of us can remember, when Americans come here, it's not usually like, it's usually for just like business deals or just random, they're just passing by, the women are hot, they want to get laid or something, like, and this is what they tell me. This is just like,
Yeah.
At no point have any of us met an American who came to our country sight unseen. You didn't know any of us before you came here. You flew across the country to Romania here. And like, you just wanted to get to know us. So in order to do that, you've been learning our language for months. And then you sing like that and you play piano like that. How could you not win this show?